Hello everyone, thank you for joining me today. My name is Sarah, and in today's video we're going to be going over how to create a project within your RedTeam Flex database. So here you can see my RedTeam Flex database. I'm on my company dashboard, which is where I'll land when I first log in. And from here I'm going to want to navigate down to the Projects menu to start a new project, or I can use the new icon up here in the top menu bar. Either way, but I'm going to get this full screen pop-up that's going to ask me to fill in some required information before I can create the project. To save this new project and create it, I will need at a minimum all of these items with the orange asterisks. And the other pieces of information that we'll walk through here are going to be optional. They can either be filled out now or later on during the project. So first we're going to go ahead and pick our customer company. Now this is a drop-down, but it's also a search. So I can go ahead and start typing the name of the company that I'm going to be performing this project for. Now, once I've chosen the customer name, I have the opportunity to pick the customer's facility. Now, this may or may not be a concept that you're familiar with. This facility is a way to break up a large repeat customer. So we can choose for a customer such as Disney to indicate that they have various departments or divisions of their company. For them, they have 5 different parks in Orlando, various water parks, administrative facilities, and training campuses. So we're going to go ahead and break them up into several different facilities. Epcot, Magic Kingdom here. Notice we can add new facilities for this customer as we go. And that's going to allow us to track things like negotiated pricing lists and common points of contact for these particular facilities within our customer company. So I'm going to go ahead and say we're performing a project for the Magic Kingdom division of Disney. And we'll pick a main point of contact. So we'll go ahead and say that Eileen is our main point of contact for this customer on this project. And then we're going to go ahead and give the project a name. This is the first place where you'll see these yellow scrolls appearing, and if you hover over those, you can see that it says this information will display on RFQs, that's requests for quote, and in the plan room. So really what they're trying to tell you here is that this piece of information is going to be visible to your vendors and other outside parties. So I want to pick a project name that makes sense to folks outside my company. And we're going to call this the Haunted Mansion Renovation. We can then go ahead and select the project manager from our team. And again, this is a search field, so I can simply start typing my name or the name of the project manager and choose them. Work location is the actual work site address. So within each facility for your customer, you can house multiple work locations. So you can see here we just have the main address of Magic Kingdom, but it's actually quite a large park. So in that case, I would add the actual work site address, and I just need to give it a name. And I can go ahead and put in the address now or later if I have it. Of course, this is not the right address. We'll go ahead and put this in Orlando. But we don't actually have to have the address right away. As long as we have the name of the work location and the country, we can go ahead and save that as a new work location, and we can add in the address to the project once we have that. So we've added that work location. And from here, we have all the basic tenets that we need to save this project. But it's worth taking a look at the remaining optional information, because if it's important to you, or if you have that information now, it might save you time to fill it in now as opposed to coming back to fill it in later. So if you have a pre-bid date or a bid date and time of day, you can go ahead and indicate that here. Notice you have the calendars over here to go ahead and fill that in, or you can simply type the date. Performance constraints here would be a chance for you to specify anything that your vendors should know. Again, that's going to show up in your request for quote and in the plan room. So you can say things like, we're using union labor only, or there's no parking on the north side of the work site, limited laydown area, whatever else you may want to communicate. Notice that you do have this little right-hand corner to click and drag if you need more space. Down here, we've got some checkboxes talking about when work is and is not allowed. And as we make our decisions here, what we're going to be affecting is twofold. First, we're going to be affecting our Gantt schedule, which means if we state that work is not allowed on Saturdays or Sundays, the Gantt schedule will skip over Saturdays and Sundays, not counting them as work days. Versus if work is allowed, it will go ahead and count Saturday and Sunday in those days of duration. Down here, you've got whether work is allowed outside of start and end times. That's if you're specifying start and end times for your employees' labor. So the other place that these checkboxes are affecting is your employee timesheets, meaning if work is not allowed on Saturdays and Sundays, your employees won't be able to log time or hours on Saturdays or Sundays. And if you don't check this outside of start and end time box, they won't be able to log time outside of the specified start and end times that you've given them. Work allowed in excess of hours allows us to add work in excess of the specified hours that we've allowed that employee. And then the last checkbox here is the skip pre-construction and proposal process. This is a really handy tool for those who may have certain situations or certain projects where you already have a signed contract or an agreement made with your owner or your customer prior to putting that project in RedTeam Flex. So you may not need to build an estimate and submit a proposal to your customer. You may simply be ready to skip straight to the phase of the project where work is authorized and you're ready to begin work. If that's the case, you can check this box to skip over the request and proposal stages of your project entirely. You'll still have access to the draft stage of the project, which allows you to upload plans and specifications, build out the scope of work, and build your project team. But when you promote from draft, you'll skip straight to in progress, which means you'll be able to go ahead and build out your project budget and get started with work, as opposed to creating an estimate, gathering all your quotes, and submitting a proposal to your customer. Last thing we have down here is our work description, which allows us to go ahead and put in as detailed or as vague a description of the project as we'd like. This will be editable down the road, and it will also be able to be included in your proposal document as your scope of work if you'd prefer. So once we've filled in all the information that we need to and or want to, we can go ahead and click Save, and the project will be created. And once it's complete, we have the new project number, and we have the ability on this confirmation page to go ahead and create an action item if we need to pass off next steps to someone else to say, hey, we created the project, please go ahead and upload the plans and specifications, or whatever may need to come next. If we don't need to create an action item, we simply click Close, and we're going to be taken immediately into the project so that we can go ahead and begin work. Now, when you click the Save button and you close out that confirmation message, you will come into this full screen view of your project. If you like that, you can navigate around using the home icon right here. If you don't, you can hit minimize or back to return to the more familiar view where you can see the stages of your project, your available tabs, and your side menu bar. So this has been our video on how to create a project within RedTeam Flex. Thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for choosing RedTeam.